Think you need to spend a fortune to enjoy a good bourbon? Think again. Tonight, we're diving into 4 bourbons that prove you don't have to break the bank to sip in style. Bottles you can snag for under $30 a pop that still pack serious flavor. I've enjoyed each of these at some point in the past year, and honestly, in my mind, I know which one is my favorite, but not so fast. Tonight is a blind, baby. I won't know what's in the glass until we crown a winner. And if budget bourbon still deliver top shelf taste, stick around to find out. It's the Cynple Whiskey Show.
Cynple Whiskey, Cyncere. Here to keep it 100, what's the ABV? Keep it simple. Cynple Whiskey, and be sweeter.
Welcome back to the Cynple Whiskey Show. I'm Cyncere, and tonight we're proving that bourbon doesn't have to cost a small fortune. We've got 4 bottles, each under $30, going head to head. We'll judge each bottle based off of nose, palate, and finish to see which one delivers the best bang for your buck. Speaking of bang for your buck, take a second, hit that button, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss out on the fun. It's free. There's the bang for your buck. All right, the glasses are labeled, but I have no idea which is which. My wife poured these up for me earlier, so of course I'm flying blind. Let's start with the nose. Glass A. I get a nice, rich, oaky note. Doesn't seem to be too pungent, for lack of a better word. Do get a little bit of like a black cherry note on this one, so let's see what we get on the palate. Cheers. So on the palate, not over the top crazy in terms of flavor profile. I do get like a sweeter oak note, a little bit of a almost like a cherry cola note. Some sort of, I know I got the black cherry on the nose, but the palate note kind of reminds me of like a black cherry note, maybe a maraschino cherry, some sort of a cherry note, but a little bit richer than just a bright red cherry. Let's dive into B and see what we get. Ooh. So I don't know if my nose was too far in it or what, but B burned my nose hairs off, and none of these are hazmat, so try to give you a better nose. On the nose, okay, that's better. I think I got too far in that one. A little bit of like a vanilla note, definitely a smoother oak note, and almost like a citrusy note, maybe even like an orange peel. Let's go in for a sip. Definitely a little bit spicier than A was, but super rich flavor on this one. I do like it. I get Penelope Valencia vibes, which is a heavier orange flavor, finished in, can't even say it without looking at it, Naharanya, maybe? Could be wrong. I'll edit the hell out of this. This will have to get out of the show if I got that wrong. Naranja, maybe? Whatever, orange casks. Spanish orange casks. And this gives me a lot of those vibes in terms of the little bit of orange I get on this, or a little bit of a, maybe even an orange peel, because it's not as citrusy as the Penelope Valencia, but it is that orange citrusy note that I do get on this one. Let's try C. Okay, so not quite as aromatic as B, but I do get a little bit more of your traditional bourbon notes on this. A little bit of oak, a little bit of vanilla. Let's give it a sip. Cheers. Oh, something about this is a bit, I am not one to down any bottle or bad talk a bottle outside of George Tickle 15, but we got a love-hate relationship all the way back to 2 Junes ago. Oh, this gives me old Halloween candy, more specifically, candy corn vibes. I don't know what it is about this one, but the nose isn't even that bad. It's, like I said, it's quintessential bourbon. It's very vanilla, caramel, and oak. But when I get a sip, there's a funk, especially on the finish on glass C, that just, not to spoil who probably will go out first, but just doesn't sit well with me. Let's try D. Ooh. Now this, my friend, I get a, man, it's like Booker's. This gives me a peanutty note. Some sort of a peanutty note, a more medium oak. This was more of a lighter oak. This is more of a medium oak. This also had caramel and vanilla. This has peanut. Let's give it a sip. Cheers. I don't know if I got my hopes up, but from a flavor profile perspective, that nose had me so in anticipation mode that once I had that sip and it was completely underwhelming, I don't know if it's a bad pour or if I was just let down. And again, this is a blind of all things under $30. So I know that my expectations can be here and they really need to be adjusted and leveled out. But from a nose perspective, the best nose on any of these is D. From a flavor perspective, the best flavor I got up front, hands down, is B. And then from a finish perspective, the best finish I got is A. It's going to be tough, but 2 got to go, so it is what it is. All right, it's a party, and not everybody can sleep over, and you ain't got to go home, but you definitely got to get up out of here. The first one I'm eliminating, probably no surprise based off of my reaction, raw, real, uncut sin. C. Now, this was a little bit more tricky because A, I believe, had that cherry cola note that really hit home on the palate. But B just had such a more robust, richer overall flavor. And then D had the nose that was just like, come here and get a sip. That, to me, this was more inviting, especially on the nose. This one is going to be the next one I'm moving. So D is out. So we're down to A and B. Enough fluff. Let's just get this thing over with. Let's go. So glass A. All right, so second time through on A, I still get that black cherry note. Not over the top strong, but I do get a good flavor note, especially from a nose perspective. So let's go in for a second sip. Second round, elimination round. Cheers. Man, that's really good. Whatever this is, step your game up, B, because A is definitely even better. After going through A through D, coming back to A, palate is warmed up. This one resonates with me. Finish on it is medium, so it's not quite the lingering finish that I typically like. But again, I don't think any of these are 130 proof. 114 is the highest proof tonight. So if there's anything that's lacking, cool. Because guess what? All of them are under $30. And to still get this level of flavor, something about this one really just set it off. But now I'm curious to see just what B brings to the table. Blind tastings, anything goes. You never know what wins. So cheers. Okay. On the nose, 2 completely different night and day nasal profiles. I'm pointing that. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say nasal profile. 2 different nasal profiles. This one, that nice smooth oaky note, black cherry, whatever you say. This one, not Haranya or whatever, orange peel from the Penelope Valencia. I gotta start keeping a notebook. I really hope this is the one I got orange on the first time. It's not, an egg on my face, but definitely a citrusy note. And again, still not as bright, still not citrusy in terms of when you first bite into a lemon, lime, or orange, but more of what you get on the peel. So not as sweet, not as bright, not as fruitful, but some sort of a citrusy note really lingers on the nose. Let's give it a sip and figure out which one of these 2 is gonna win the whole thing tonight. Cheers. So this one still, flavor-wise, lingered a little bit more. Definitely hit me a little bit heavier on the tongue. Almost like a proofier punch. Still get that citrusy note. Still get those richer oaky notes. Very good flavor. Like, immediately my mind goes to whatever this is, I want to try it in an old fashioned. And based off of what's up here, I probably have. I have a very difficult decision to make. So let's crown a winner. The whiskey that will not move on as the champion is B. Okay. So A is the winner, B is the runner-up. So the first whiskey out tonight was C. C had that caramel corn note. Something about it just had a funk on the palate, decent nose on it, very bourbon-esque, bourbon quintessential nose, but flavor profile just wasn't it for me. Oh, geez. Okay, well, that is a wild card in this lineup because, again, I haven't had this one nowhere near as many times I've had these. I've had both of these with cigars. Neither of these have I ever had with a cigar except for this one in an old fashioned. This was one I bought probably 2 years ago. I do recall not liking it, but now I really understand it. Whatever that candy corn note is just I can't get past. I'm not a huge candy corn fan. Next one out was D. Really? That explains that peanutty note I got on this one. So Jim Beam 7, definitely one of my, I was ranting and raving about this just recently. So definitely a good pour. Obviously, when you go through a blind, all bets are off. Whatever happens that night is what it is. So as I said, A was the victor tonight. So that means B was Old Granddad 114. So a little bit more spice than what I was anticipating. But at the same token, this one also had a very orange-like note that kept me coming back for more and kept me curious. And I've used this as a mixer since I started my journey. These two have been my mixers, which means the winner was Wild Turkey 101. And that black cherry note I got on the nose, that cherry cola note I got on the flavor profile, makes total sense. I mean, heck, you see just how much is not in this bottle. Even with everything you see on the wall, this is one that I still continue to go to time and time again. I think it's $27 or $28.99 a bottle, but my goodness, best bourbon under $30. We got a whole year ahead of us. So realistically, I'll take this and move it on to the next under $30 lane. Looking right here in the rear view, which way am I going? This way, you got another under 30 right here that's a heavy hitter. Bing, bing, bing. You got this one that's not my favorite. You got that one that's a heavy hitter. You got this one that's under $30 that's also a full liter for under $30. So maybe at the end of the year, I'll definitely have to keep track that this one won the first under $30 blind this year. And we'll see what ends up eking it out as we get closer toward the middle end of the year. Let me know in the comments, what is your go-to budget pour? And if you've had any of these, which one of these is your favorite? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to check out my low proof blind video. And remember, good whiskey doesn't have to cost an arm and a leg. So here's the full glasses, stories worth embracing, and keeping it simple. Cheers.